Hello, my name is Jay and welcome back to my Tech Vault. And today I want to make a video talking about CES 2019. I believe it's the January 8th. And I want to make today's video to talk about some of the biggest anticipations and things to really be looking out for. Some of the biggest stuff that hopefully will be announced in CES that will make a big difference and really decide how big of an influential year this will be on tech and computers. Now obviously there's a bunch of other products and companies that people make, but for the sole purpose of this video, since we are a tech related and more specifically a computer related channel, I want to kind of keep it computer related. And some of the major stuff, I'm not going to go individually specifics on a case company's third case. I want to just kind of talk about some of the important stuff that everyone will relate to, which will mostly be processors and graphics cards, and not necessarily individual cooler or board partner graphics cards, but in total, like the actual chip itself. So I want to basically go through and talk about some of the biggest things that will really influence how influential this year will be, which is saying that a lot of times, but let me just explain. So if you're unfamiliar with a lot of the rumors that are going on right now, we have some AMD Ryzen rumors that, if true, will basically mean that AMD for the first time in a long time will be ahead of Intel in their performance per clocks if Intel does not release anything to combat it. Now obviously Intel did have the 9000 series that they just released, so there's going to of course be that, but this is of course we're talking about rumors that have 16 cores, 32 threads, something for around $500, which is still like double the performance of a 9900K. So you kind of get the point. Is there's a lot of speculation. If this is true, then we end up with a year where AMD is ahead, AMD or will be substantially close if Intel does release something, and we'll end up with a year with AMD being ahead, and it will pretty much set the course that we will have to have Intel come back and constantly be catching up, which means just we get more innovation. If this is just another not necessarily a refresh, but another processor that keeps the same amount of cores, same amount of threads as the 2000 series and the 1000 series of Ryzen processors, then that really just means that we're kind of stuck and innovation doesn't keep going as fast as it could be. And I guess everyone, no matter who you are, no matter if you're a fan of Intel, AMD, just keep in mind, or integrated graphics if that's your thing, just keep in mind that it's really going to be influential. If AMD does this, it will set the course of this year for innovation, which I think is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a good year regardless, but this is what I'm really hoping for. So first thing at CES I think everyone should watch out for is, according to the rumors, there's a lot of processors AMD is going to announce at CES. Now CES is of course very important in the sense that there's a lot of other stuff going on, but the processors, if these are announced and at least we get confirmation of a few of them like matching up, because I was looking at some rumor today and some website posted all the specs of the identical specs to what the rumor speculated on their website for their store selling the processors. We're just getting it on the store, not necessarily selling it, and they matched up all the specs. So either they're putting that as a placeholder, or we've got a really exciting year going ahead. So if that CES, AMD announces stuff from that leaked processor sheet or spec sheet, that pretty much means, as I said, that workstation processors, like workstation stuff that you can do streaming, 1080p streaming, video editing, 4K video editing, all that stuff will basically be put in the consumer's hands with under $500 about, if the rumors are true as well. And under $500 you get 4K, 1080p video editing, streaming, and it's this set of new processors to cores, to threads, to clock speeds is pretty much insane for gamers, workstation users, and people that do both. So it's going to be a very interesting, if this is true, it will be very interesting to see this year go forward, as AMD will now have my personal recommendation for the best gaming processors, for the high end, and the best workstation processors if Intel does not come back, which of course they will, so we'll have to see when that comes around. But usually Intel likes to release something at the end of the year, and we're just at the beginning, which is going to be interesting. Also, let's talk about the NVIDIA RTX 2060 and GTX 1160. So these are stuff that may not necessarily be released. These are like leaks and rumors that are going around, but what CES to watch out for is if NVIDIA, I would assume, since the past gen, the 1060s are starting to run down on supply. This is about the same thing they did with the 1080 Ti's and the 2080 Ti's, is they're going to release right around when they start running out of supply. That way they have an incentive for people to buy the new cards rather than to get the old cards and basically make the old cards non-existent, so you have to buy the new stuff. So what I would expect to see is, the moment, I'd say right around now would be a good time. So at CES, if we get an announcement like that, I wouldn't be surprised to see a 2060 and a GTX 1160 out there. I don't know about a 2050 or a 1150 most likely. It just doesn't seem right, especially because a 2050 doesn't necessarily fit into the logic of ray tracing. You won't really get any ray tracing performance. So I think it definitely 1150 would be possible, maybe an 1150 Ti, but we have no rumors to support that. So I would assume that that may not be happening, and we just end up with a 1060 and 1160. These will both be mediocre or mid-range graphics cards that will kind of be interesting to see how they play out. Let's also talk about the AMD Radeon 3000 series. So as you're familiar, we have the AMD's releasing processors, and if you're unfamiliar, I think it was a year back, Lisa Su said that, no, it wasn't Lisa Su, AMD moved, actually I think it was Lisa Su that said this, it was that she said that they were moving Ryzen engineers over to the graphics department, and obviously Ryzen has turned out really well. And so we've got this new Radeon graphics cards that are coming out right around the time. Obviously, it's not still enough time for these new engineers to have influence as much, but there still is this is the first kind of new set of graphics cards that we're seeing. Obviously, it takes a lot longer to R&D something like that, so I understand that. But basically, we're still just starting to see some of that, the first trail glimpses of what we may actually see in the future. And so if these Radeon 3000 graphics cards come out, and some of the rumors suggest that they will be equivalent to a 2070, there will be some pretty strong mid-range graphics cards. And obviously, I'm really hyped to actually see what these do, because they're supposed to come right around the $300 budget range, which will completely knock anything that NVIDIA has up in the high market down a good bit. So regardless if you're an AMD fan or an NVIDIA fan, if they release these graphics cards, that means that everybody makes out well, and we all get have to pay less for graphics cards. So as I said, this year will be very interesting. We will see a lot of change up if some of these rumors, at least half these rumors, are true. Heck, I'd be surprised to see if we got all these rumors. It'd be really, really nice to see them actually come true, because then we'd just get an interesting year. Also, I don't know about, because if you're unfamiliar, Intel also talked about their Fevris, I believe, architecture, which is like 3D stacking. And so, of course, they're working on 10 nanometers. They'll be pretty close to that. I mean, I could expect to see something new maybe from Intel. I don't know. They just released the 9000 series a couple months back, so I don't know. I mean, it would be logical for them to release something at the end of the year, at the end of 2019, probably to combat whatever AMD does. But as for now, I'm not sure. It's unsure. I mean, they might release some more stuff, or they may just leave it. We don't know. But that's something you may want to watch out for, but not as much as some of the AMD and NVIDIA stuff. Well, definitely, AMD is going to be an interesting one to watch, because I'm going to have to be sitting down here watching as everything rolls out from AMD. It's going to be really exciting. And if AMD does half these rumors, it's going to be a good year. So I'm hoping y'all are excited as I am. And of course, thank you very much for watching. I hope I was able to inform you of at least what I'm excited and why I'm excited about certain things, and why you should be too. Of course, check out my channel for other cool tech-related news, videos, reviews, unboxings, builds, and these kind of videos where we just talk, discussions. But thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.